Hi, Psycho Traveller here. I'm in the beautiful Australia. I arrived about a week ago. We're currently on Brunswick Street. Brunswick Street is mad. The fashion, the music, the food, the coffee, everything. It's absolutely buzzing here. What's your name?
I'm Taryn.
Taryn, nice to meet you. I'm Ali. What's inspired your outfit today?
It's a bit cold, so I've decided to wear that. I really like soft fabrics, so I've gone for that as well. And I thought of pop a colour today.
Okay, amazing. Do you think that the live music scene here in Melbourne altogether inspires what you see people wearing?
I think to some extent, certainly on a subcultural level.
Okay. How do you feel living in Melbourne? I mean, it's so cosmopolitan around here. People can literally wear whatever they want. It's just a freedom of expression, really. Do you like that, or?
I do, yeah. I'm from Sydney, and I felt the same there. But I think that it's a lot more visible in Melbourne, mostly because it's a more centralised city, and that most of the gigs and cultural events that happen in the city are within a fairly small space. So it means that you have a lot more of a melting pot that happens.
Okay, so where do you normally go and buy your clothes?
It depends. I get a lot of hand-me-downs, so I quite like that.
Fantastic.
I do a lot of op shopping as well, and I tend to get basics from really cheap places as well. So a bit of everything.
Amazing. All right, well, thank you.
Thank you.
Amazing. Where'd you get all your clothes from?
Op shops, eBay, second-hand shops.
It's a huge culture here for vintage and second-hand shops.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
Amazing. Do you know why that is? Do you think we're just moving away from the big chain stores where everything's mass-produced?
Yeah, I think everything's indie and counterculture around here. Although it sort of becomes its own culture when one has a look at all the cafes around here. Maybe 10 years ago, I used to work here still, and people would exchange heroin on the street freely. And I think we're the new Sydney. We've got 1,500 people a week moving here. Yeah.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah. All the street art.
You look amazing.
Thank you.
You've got the look.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going into Hunt's Gallery. It's a little vintage thrift shop, so I'm really excited about this. Hi, what do you think of the fashion in Melbourne?
I really like it. A lot of people think there might be a misconception that Melbourne's all about black, but it's actually a little bit more eclectic than that. There's a little bit of mixture of vintage with contemporary. That's a pretty big look in Melbourne.
Fantastic. What do you think inspires the kind of fashion? There's so many second-hand shops and vintage clothing. What do you think inspires that around here?
Inspires people to want to buy vintage.
Yeah.
I think quality too. The manufacturing standards were a bit better.
Okay.
Back there. Just diversity too. The only thing is you can get in the shops nowadays are pretty much what's on trend, and if what's on trend doesn't blow your hair back, you can go vintage. And a lot of vintage stuff, if it's well designed, you can mix it with a lot of other styles, so it's a little bit more versatile than just buying off the hanger in stores, I think.
Do you find that more people are turning towards buying second-hand clothing, more vintage clothing now with, the chain stores being so mass-produced? Do you think that's having a bit of influence?
Yeah, I think that's an appeal for some people. Just everyone's a little bit more aware of landfills and things like that as well. And some of the stuff you can buy pretty cheap, but you might be washing your car with it, in 2 months' time. So, yeah, I think people are a bit more environmentally aware.
Fantastic. All right, well, thank you.
Oh, that's all right.
To be honest, one of the things I really love about Melbourne, especially Fitzroy since I've been here, is just how everyone is so open to express themselves through the fashion. I mean, in Birmingham, back where I'm from, London's different, but Birmingham, you walk down the road wearing full-on vintage outfit, people are just going to look at you funny, but here you can just wear whatever you want and just show your personality through it, and it kind of shows what kind of music you like, and I absolutely love that. So yeah, freedom here to just wear what you want. I feel I can walk out of my hostel in my pajamas and some boots and I'd fit right in. No one would bat an eyelid. So that is what I love about this place. God, I could spend hours in this shop. Something I've noticed here when you're walking down Brunswick Street, you have polar opposites. You've got vintage stores, thrift shops, op shops, and then you have high-end fashion like this that will really cost you a pretty penny. And it's just mad, they're next door to each other. Vintage, high fashion, designer wear. It's all here, everything, something for everyone is here. It's insane, even the bikes have clothes. This is immense. Try this on. Oh yeah. Rocking it. Pretty snappy hats here. Do you want to tell us a little bit about your shop?
Okay, our shop is called Smart Alec. We are Smart Alec Hatters, and we deal in men's hats, but predominantly we also deal in men's accessories and gifts. Yes.
So do you make the hats here?
I do the special hats in the shop. So in the shop we do a lot of customizing and a lot of reconditioning, but along the way I will knock up something specific to the shop. I'll just show you. I think you'll look great in this while we chat.
Oh wow,
there you go.
Absolutely.
So that stops me from getting completely bored. Yeah, so every season I try and produce one hat which is specific only to the shop and can only be ordered through, gotten through us. And then along the way, of course, we do a lot of, I customise a lot of the existing stock. Yes, we produce our own cufflinks, we produce a whole series of things that are specific only to the shop.
Fantastic. Do you get is there a lot of need out there now for this kind of tailored look, this very smart, almost casual look?
Yeah, so I think, and I know it's worldwide, it's not just in Melbourne, but men are rediscovering a kind of masculine elegance, let's put it that way. It's not about metrosexual. There's a lot of chats about dandyism too, which is interesting, peacocks and dandies, but it is very much that masculine elegance, and it comes from a whole lot of different areas, of course. So you have everything from television and movie shows, everybody from Johnny Depp, Jack White, through to your Boardwalk Empires and your Don Drapers. So it's all over. So it's quite eclectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is wonderful. So you'll have your Great Gatsbys and what have you. Yeah, it's
cool.
It's a nice broad trade, man.
Yeah. Do you think if you picked this shop up and put it out of the suburbs somewhere a little bit quieter, somewhere away from such a cosmopolitan area, that it would do so well?
Oh, well, that's an interesting question. I think inevitably people will find you. I think it wouldn't do so well so quickly, and I wouldn't have as much just walk-in trade, which is quite random, and therefore, which is quite random, and I love that you can, the next clientele will be someone who will be a hipster, and then there'll be someone who's had melanomas removed and needs something quite sensible. So yeah.
What kind of age group do you get in here mainly?
There you go. It's everyone. Pretty much right across the board, from 14-year-olds. I did a hat for a client who was 4 yesterday.
Wow.
And then, through to your 80-year-olds. Yeah.
We've been asking a lot of people today what you think about the fashion around, especially around Fitzroy area, because Brunswick Street and Smith Street are just, you walk down the road, you can wear anything, and people are just so accepting
Pretty much,
of it.
yes.
Also, a lot of people are going to a lot of vintage shops. I mean, I know this is quite more smart kind of wear, but...
Oh, I know. One of the things I do... Okay, so with my trade, I have a lot of... I stock vintage as well, and I recondition vintage hats. But I also have authentic brands. So I have brands in the shop which basically have made hats for the last 3 generations. So something they made 50 years ago is the same as something they made for me last year. So it's authentic. So, and I get a lot of clients these days looking for vintage, what have you. The problem is, you can't find all your sizes in vintage. No. And so at that point, you know, what I tend to say is, well, get something that's authentic, that is, yeah. So I have Irish tweeds, English made hats, Italian made hats, Panama's out of Ecuador. Yeah, and it's about that being authentic. And I think what's happened with men's couture, by the way, too, is I think there's a need for authenticity. And that's something that is, so there blokes are rediscovering handmade shoes, a tailored suit is your friend, and not an instrument of oppression. Yeah.
Do you find that people are moving away from like the high street brands or mass-produced items that you can just pick up anywhere online and moving more towards the kind of the vintage shops, the op shops, these kind of shops where everything's very tailored, etc.?
Yeah. I think so. I think what people want is, and I think what they get from people from establishments like that is they get service. Ultimately, you know, they'll make up their own minds as to how much they want to spend. But what I know clients love about my shop is what the staff will do in terms of fitting a hat, choosing the right hat, you know, the right piece of apparel, you know, helping them figure out which gloves, you know, letting them know what size gloves they wear.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's about knowing your stock and then really being quite, you know, I think you have to love your clients. I think you have, and that, yeah, is offering service.
Yeah, I think that personal touch is missing a lot of the days now.
Well, yeah, you can stay at home and be ignored. You know,
Exactly.
yeah, you don't have to go out to be ignored. So, and I think human beings are hardwired for that interaction. That, you know, go out, hunter gather, you know. And now in an urban environment, we do it through retailing. I think, and I think that's universal. I think it's sad that people go. I think it's a lonely and sad thing to go shopping online. It's a desperate act.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
And I'm loving the hat. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
Steam Pirates, they should bring it on.
Should so bring it back.
Yeah, we've had steampunks, Steam Pirates. That's
Let's
what
do
we
it.
need.
Yeah. Okay, I am in Naked for Satan. This has got to be my favourite bar on Brunswick Street. Just a couple of minute walk from my hostel. Great booze, great atmosphere, and in a minute we're going to take you up to the rooftop and you will get the most amazing view of Melbourne. But for now, I have a little Opiantini to enjoy here. Thank you very much. Oh, that's good. Just casually enjoying my cocktail, the beautiful sight of Melbourne in the background. So I found myself a little bakery. I'm going to get myself a Vietnamese pork roll to see what that's like.
Everything with you.
Yes, please. At just $4, that is amazing. Right, let's crack into this bad boy. That is pretty damn good. Mmm. Mmm. You have no idea. Really no idea. This is really good. $4 well spent. So we asked the girls really nicely if we could film inside their place, and look what they gave us. That is pretty amazing. My mouth is watering. It's like an orgasm bun.